hello, boys. How are you
Hey,
today?
Oh,
I'm doing
oh
okay for
man,
like,
do I need this conversation today?
Bourbon?
Hey,
You want
hey,
bourbon?
Sam.
Are you doing your
I
bourbon this
Yes,
time?
please.
All right, bourbon for you, Alan. What would
I
you
want
like?
some water.
Some water. Oh, and I see Manny coming in right now. Hey, Manny, what will you have tonight?
Oh, hey. Yeah, I'll just have my
Hey,
usual
man.
beer.
A
Hello.
beer? Okay.
Manny,
You want a
I'll have a
PBR?
beer.
You want a PBR or a Schlitz or
PBR sounds pretty good.
I didn't know they
oh,
made Schlitz anymore.
yeah, we got some nice Schlitz on tap. You got to take a Schlitz every now and then. Boys,
Oh,
you guys
Yep.
have the best conversations. And let me tell you what's on my social media feed all the time these days.
what?
What's that?
Everybody buying into different conspiracy theories, people defending
Uh,
conspiracy theories, everyone confused about what a conspiracy even is. So why don't you discuss about that this time? What do you guys think? Is that good?
Okay,
All
okay.
right. And I'll come back with your order in a minute.
Huh? Yeah. Well, Pastor, talk about conspiracy theories. Jesus?
Yeah, he's a huge
What
conspiracy.
was that? What was that? The rock rolls back. He's got. Oh my God! What happened? Isn't that an original one? Not
Ye-
the
oh,
original one. I'm sure the
Yeah, the
Peloponnesians and
the
the
original
Egyptians had
one.
their own.
Well, yeah. That's a conspiracy theory, but that's not the one I care about anymore. The one I care about is the one with Jeffrey Epstein. Let me lay this out for you real quick, like. Okay, first of all, it's really suspicious that a guy that knows all this juicy details about pedophilia and stuff concerning powerful men, particularly Donald Trump, happens to just commit suicide in a federal penitentiary. Now, why do I think that that's not what happened? Well, here we go. Well, first of all, he'd been on suicide watch, and so they were watching him all the time. Well, they took him off of that, and they weren't checking on him in his cell. The camera that was supposed to be on in there, for some reason, had malfunctioned, so it wasn't on. And also, the camera outside wasn't on. It was on, but it was missing like 2 or 3 minutes of time. And when he knows so much about all these people, and he's in basically a prison cell that was run by Donald Trump. Of course, this happened after Trump was president. This is when Biden is president. But even so, Trump, I'm sure, has strings he could pull to get something to happen in there. But the thing is that even if none of that stuff happened, even if he actually did break his neck from trying to hang himself, which that's really suspicious too. How do you break your own neck with a cheesy, half-rigged attempt at hanging yourself? Even though, let's say, even if he did all that stuff to himself, if you're suicidal, you don't have to push the guy off the ledge. All you gotta do is open the fucking window, and he'll just step out there and do it for you. And I think, if there's no actual people, I think that's what happened. I think that they opened the metaphorical window, if you will, and he just stepped out on the ledge, and that was it. That's my conspiracy theory.
And so there are a lot of. All right. So in order for there to be a conspiracy theory, there has to be an official line, right?
Right. His official line was he committed suicide. And that,
Right.
oh well, yeah, the autopsy said that, yeah, his injuries were consistent with trying to hang himself, or actually hang himself, except for the broken neck and a few other things that are very suspicious, because most people, when they hang themselves, they die from strangulation, asphyxiation.
Right.
They don't die from breaking their own necks.
It takes, you have to drop. I mean, there's a physics to it. I
Well,
mean, you
yeah,
have to drop
you
far
have to
enough.
drop, and that big knot on the side there has to hit you in the side of the head,
Ah,
or to snap your head to one side while you're dropping.
yeah.
And there's no way he could do that. So that's why I think having a broken neck and being dead, it's consistent with strangulation, somebody putting their hands around you or
Right.
using a garrote on you. It's consistent with a lot of other things besides trying to kill yourself by hanging.
All right. Well, I hear what you're saying, but Manny, I've known you for a long time, and I've never been
yeah.
able to get you. you don't like conspiracy theories. You don't.
Well,
You're completely. What do you have to say about it?
well, here's the thing. Now, first of all, in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, I I don't care if he got taken out by Trump or somebody else, or he did commit suicide. I'm saying that that's one less pedophile in the world. Good riddance. I don't care how it was done.
Okay.
I say burn in hell. Uh, but here's the thing. The thing that I'm not saying that there aren't conspiracy theories. I'm just saying that something like this, for that to be coordinated, there's always a conspiracy is only as good as its weakest link, because there's always
Right.
going to be somebody who is going to say, I don't know if I go along with all this. That's going to blow the whistle. It's going to blow the thing. If in fact this was what Alan was talking about, and it was straight up murder, you know, somebody's going to get is going to, because everybody looks out for number one.
That's true.
There's
Right.
no, you've heard the saying that there's no honor among thieves. Well, there's no honor among people who commit this kind of thing, and somebody's going to blow the whistle. We saw that during the whole Nixon thing with Deep Throat, and
Sure.
there's always going to be somebody who's going to get cold feet, or is going to think, oh, I'm going to get prosecuted for this, and they're going to come and anonymously or
Exactly. Or for
say,
whatever
hey,
reason.
you know what, this is what happened.
Right.
I was reading. Speaking of conspiracy theories, I was reading this interesting thing the other day about it, because I'm interested in conspiracy theories as well, but I didn't know, and I haven't verified this, but I heard that the term conspiracy theory was coined after in the 1960s by the CIA, and it was used to discredit people who believed who were talking about the war in Vietnam and all the real reasons why we were over there. That it wasn't just about fighting the commies and
Right.
the domino theory and all that stuff. That there was something else going on, and so in order to discredit uh, those ideas, the CIA started this campaign to say, oh, people who they're it's just a conspiracy, this conspiracy theory about there's nothing to it, and all this stuff.
So that's what the originator of where
So
what
that
our
was
modern day conspiracy theories, which then just gets when now we have the internet, it gets
Mhm.
it on steroids because we're
Yeah.
so much easier to
Exactly. It's
disseminate
so much.
an idea. I
Not
mean,
a chain letter anymore.
I was thinking about that about you remember back in where we would talk about the town square during the Revolutionary War, where somebody would get onto the soapbox on the town square. Well, the
Mhm.
difference between that is that now you can get that same person in the town square that may talk to 10 or 15 people, and it'd be that you can get that and you can just disseminate it out to entire. And so that has to have an effect on
Mhm.
all of us, and it has an effect on how quickly this information disseminates
Oh
and how
yeah.
quickly we can do it. And also, there's confirmation bias, right? I mean, if I
Mhm.
want to believe something, if I really want to believe something, then I'm going to do it despite all the evidence to the contrary, i.e., the
Mhm.
Pizzagate. They're at the bottom of in that pizzeria in Washington D.C. was a child sex ring that was
Mhm.
being run by Hillary Clinton. Well, you got
Yeah.
to really want to believe it in order to have that. I mean, you got to I mean, you have to go really want to believe it.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me
Well,
for me to buy into a conspiracy theory, it's got to have a certain level of plausibility and
Ah,
probability that the Pizzagate thing never had.
never had.
None of the QAnon stuff, really, I find to be, plausible, let alone probable.
credible.
It's
Yeah.
all
Exactly.
BS. But
All right. Well, look. Let
Jeffrey
me ask
Epstein,
this.
that's got a little more plausibility to it.
All right. So I asked you about this. All right. So here is the thing I want to ask, because I want to go into Manny and what you think about this, because I love what you said earlier.
Yes.
If let's say the 2016 election, and because I talk about this from people who believe, I'm talking about the 2020 election, that the 2020 election was stolen, that this, people that believe that. And I asked them, and it's not just a matter of the number of cases, the 65 cases that went down and all that, but I'm saying, think about this. In order to change the tabulations of votes in that many states, do you realize the number of people you would have to be involved in this conspiracy? I'm talking about the number of people to actually physically move votes, to actually physically do this, because because none of these states are connected, which means you've got to have a conspiracy of massive proportions with that many people. And with this capitalistic society, somebody's going to say, you know what? I can make some money off of this. I can blow this out of the water. I can, and that to me is that if that doesn't settle it, to be able to say, look, with that level of complexity, somebody's going to talk.
That's true. I agree with you.
Yeah.
What do you think, Manny?
Well, the 2020 election was a whole bag of crazy. And a lot of this is fueled by one man's ego. One person couldn't stand the idea that he wasn't as popular as he seems to think he is, that people would actually vote against him, and so he creates this atmosphere of trying to sow doubt.
But then you have to believe it, though. If you follow him, we have to. That to me, it saddens me. It saddens me because that means we have to throw out our intellect, have to throw out our integrity in order to follow this person. And the thing, I think the thing that most bothers me about the man that we currently have in the White House, or the thing that scares me, is that he cannot be wrong. He cannot admit to making a mistake. And a person who cannot admit to making a mistake or ever being wrong scares the shit out of me, especially when they not only that, they have the nuclear codes, plus they also have the opportunity to take down our universities. They have so all of these things combined scares me witless.
And who could blame you, bro? Because I mean, somebody like that, they're not going to take the best advice. They're going to take the advice they think is the best.
Or the last person that I mean, that's the thing that I think. Anyway,
last person they talk to.
But getting back to on conspiracy theories, I have one. I have one, but it goes way back. But I'm gonna try to give a little bit, just to bring y'all up to date. Since I'm the elder in the tribe, I might remember it better than you. In the 1980s, yeah, thank you. In the 1980s, there was this thing called Enron, which was this basically an energy Ponzi scheme that was built upon. It was out of Houston, and the CEO was a man named Ken Lay. Well, the entire Ponzi scheme came down. He was convicted, taken into trial. He was convicted. He was going to be going to jail, all that. And suddenly he has, according to the medical records, he has a heart attack and dies. The next day, before the autopsy happens, he is cremated. And that's it. Then it's gone. I mean, he's cremated. And I just have, it's what you were saying, Alan. It's so convenient. When something is so overly convenient that I can just see him, assuming that, I mean, he's my age, so he is alive or he isn't, but whatever. But he is pina colada in Belize or somewhere on the beach, enjoying his elderhood, or however long he did. But I just have a hard time. It's just so, when things are so coincidental and so quick like that, and then we never see anything, it bothers me.
So your take is basically you're saying that you believe that he faked his own death and is now living somewhere else.
Exactly.
That he's still alive.
That's what happened. That he was able, and that again, and I'm saying about when we're talking about numbers. One doctor, one family member, nobody else. So that to me is a small enough number in the brain of Dennis
Mm-hmm.
to pull that off. I mean, if it were a large, if there were a number of medical professionals involved that took him up and saw his body, and then I would say no, I'm wrong. But since it just happened there, and there was one doctor and one, and then there was immediately sent to the funeral home without an autopsy in that, and then it just bothers me.
And I can see why that would bother you.
Yeah. I mean that. All right. I have to admit, yeah, that does kind of stink to high heaven. And there is a level of plausibility to that one. People do. Although
When you have that kind of money, we're talking about he had that much money, and we're talking about, and we have no idea how much he had in offshore bank accounts or any of the stuff that rich people were able to pull off, but whatever.
Right.
But those are the kinds of things that we have. But do you think, Manny and Alan, do you guys think that conspiracy theories are getting worse?
Well, if by worse you mean less
I don't mean
plausible.
by worse. I mean that they're spreading. That they're more prolific. They're more. They're going to be more in the zeitgeist of us going forward.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with Manny. I think so.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is an orchestrated, and maybe for somebody who says they doesn't believe
this is a conspiracy theory, Manny. I just heard you start a conspiracy theory.
I know.
Mr. Skeptic, we're getting him. We're pulling him over to the dark side, Alan.
Kind of dragging me into the dark side. But let me say this. So let me say this. Let me say it. Let me go ahead and say it. I do believe that there is a coordinated effort to spread propaganda. Alan mentioned QAnon. I think that's part of it. Is a coordinated effort. I think I'm not saying that somebody is directing them to it, but I'm feeling that this whole QAnon thing is them saying, you know what, let's to try to all at the behest or at the in the service of, again, this individual that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And also, and not just that, but also there's been this whole sort of anti-intellectual, anti-democratic, anti-liberal ideas that have been spreading, thanks to Fox News or fake news.
Yeah, exactly. All of them. This is a conservative.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if it's so much a conspiracy theory, but it's definitely a backlash against perceived liberal, the liberalization of the country, of things moving to the left. And so there's this pushback that's been happening, thanks to things like Fox News and to, right-wing talking heads like Charlie Kirk and, Glenn Beck, and of course going back to what's his name, Rush Limbaugh, may he roast in hell, for going back to the 80s, and really pushing this idea of, oh, liberals, they're horrible and they're destroying the country and blah blah blah, and whether they are or not, that's a whole other issue. But it's just implanting this idea that liberalism is wrong and bad and horrible, and they're out to destroy America, and only us red-blooded conservatives can, and
right.
again,
white male conservative.
Right,
Christian.
exactly. Right. And
White
so that's given
cisgender male.
it's given rise to all the things we're seeing now, the rise in Christian nationalism, the rise in white well, specifically, yeah, white Christian
And
nationalism
whitewashing
and
things
whitewashing.
like
Yeah.
having a president that would actually say something like, well, slavery was not that bad. We really focus too much on
Why are we
slavery
exactly.
and which is probably one of the most horrifying things you could possibly say.
Yeah. Well, again, that's nothing new. America's been whitewashing their history for years. They're just saying the quiet parts out loud now, and
Right.
they're being all these racists, and people are just emboldened now, and I think that's part of the backlash. For years they were told, no, all that's wrong, that's bad. And so they've been just seething inside and waiting for somebody to come along and say, no, it's okay. You can, and of course they disguise it as, oh, well, my freedom of speech is being suppressed. I'm not being allowed to say things because, all these woke people out there. Well, now you got a president saying, oh, no, we're going to be anti-woke. We're going to be, we're going to be allowed to say whatever we want.
Yeah, but how does that do that, Manny? When you outlaw talking about woke, isn't that doing exactly what they complain was being done to the conservative movement? Isn't this exactly?
Well, here's the thing. Yes, it is. But here's the rule that you remember, that you got to remember when talking about, especially the far right, is this: their whole ideology is, when we do it, it's right. When they do it, it's wrong.
Well,
and everything.
Well, I am so grateful that you guys came and set me straight on conspiracy theories. I feel a lot better. I'm so glad that Sam came and got us here at the end. And then, gosh, I enjoy talking with y'all. You guys are helping me to restore faith in men. I am so tired of men. I feel that we have just like, oh my God, what the hell have we done in this country? It seems like I can trace back so much of what has gone wrong when I look at I look at the summits. I look at that one or two women there, all the rest of us, all the rest of men. I look at Gaza. Who are all the people at the table? We're men. We got to figure out. We got to, you are restoring my faith in masculinity, and maybe that we do have a part, and we can be part of the solution.
Well, stopping being leaving the Christian ministry helped me a whole lot, because Christianity is, by its very nature, misogynistic and patriarchal.
Right. Well, listen. I got to head out. I'm at the end of my drink. Thank you guys for having me, and thanks for having my weekly dose of sanity that I get here at High Spirits. And Sam, I'm sorry. Have we?
No, that's okay. I'm just here to clean up because we got a group coming in. So if you guys don't mind moving it along, we love having you. But thank you. Yep, let me take that from you, sir.
Thank you, Sam. Hey, Manny. Bye, Alan. We'll see y'all soon.
All right. See y'all later.